Hi, this is Kim Clark, also known as Expanding Love. And today on Raising the Vibration, we're having a chat with my dear friend, Godis. And Godis is going to tell us how she raises the vibration. And she does that for many people in many ways. Share what your mission and purpose is with us today.
Well, I am an artist, a spiritual artist, and my mission is to uh, inspire women. I want to say women first and foremost, because that's what first came to me. But now I know that I'm here to inspire all people to embrace the highest vision of self.
And what does that mean? The highest vision of self.
Whatever that is, the highest vision of yourself is the vision, what I call the immaculate concept. It is the vision that God has instilled within you of who you are here to become in this life.
Okay, so how do you do that?
Through prayer, through meditation, through reconnecting with the Creator on a personal level.
Well, that's how you do that for you, but how do you do that for other people?
Oh, okay. How I assist other people in doing that is through photography, through spiritual photography, through creating sacred garments for women,
Okay.
assisting them in seeing themselves in a more sacred and divine light.
Okay. If you want to see some of her work right away, anytime you look at my picture for this show, that's one of Goddess's sacred photographs. And she took me into deep meditation and we focused on forgiveness. And when I went really deep and focused on just forgiveness of myself, of the planet, of all the wounds, this, that, and the other, then there was a holy moment when she got that shot. So she took a series of shots, but when I was at the deepest level, that's what came forth, and that's who I am in my purest self, which
Yeah.
is she's describing right now. So now you also do circles with women, and what's that about?
Well, the circles came about because I worked in a shelter with women, and what was happening is that we were providing them with um, food and shelter, and we were teaching them what we call life skills. And life skills just is how you survive in the world. You know, how to go look for a place. How to sign a lease, how to balance a checkbook, go shopping. And so once the girls had completed their life skills training and they got a job and they saved up, so much money, the first down payment, security deposit for their place, then we would assist them and we would provide for them uh, living room, dining room, bedroom furniture, pots, pans, I mean, everything, you name it.
Mhm.
And they
How do
were,
I get in on this deal?
yeah,
I don't want that deal.
cool. Yeah, but the thing is they were coming back in 3 months. They
Wow.
lost their job. They walked away from an apartment because they couldn't move the stuff. They didn't have the money. And I didn't understand, it's like, why, And what I realized is because they were emotionally wounded. And we had not dealt with the inner self. We had done everything to deal with the physical aspect of what they needed, but we wasn't dealing with the emotional part of what they needed. And so I was inspired, um, by God to create a way that they could understand their journey and process their journey in really a positive way and see the things that happen in their lives could help them to evolve and to grow, to look at it from a whole different perspective as opposed to carrying the pain and hurt of it.
So how did you do that? What tools did you use to create this change in these young ladies?
Well, I'm going to tell you the biggest tool was my own journey.
Really?
Yeah, because, I was a child in the system. I've been in foster care. I've been in groups homes. I've been through some of the traumas that the young ladies have been through. And I was angry for a long time. And I felt like something was wrong with me because I didn't have the love. I didn't feel love from my parents. I know that they loved me, but I didn't feel that love.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the things that I went through, being taken away from my parents and being in the system, uh, I had a lot of anger when I came out. And I began to understand after prayer, after years of being angry, that this was a spiritual journey, and that everything that happened to me was by design, and that in those experiences was an opportunity for me as a spirit to gain knowledge and wisdom and to grow. And that's what this journey was really all about. So if I can invite them into that awareness of looking at it from a different perspective, then they could grow from it and be empowered by it, as opposed to walking around being wounded and having self-loathing because of the things they've been through.
Okay, so you helped them through your own experience, but what exactly did you do?
Well, I shared with them. I shared with them my perspective, and the book that I wrote, the Book of Wisdom, is really the shift in my own thinking that helped me to come out of the hurt, anger, and pain.
Okay.
And one of the biggest things for me was realizing that I was a spiritual being having a human experience, and that everything that happened was happening so that I could know what I came here to know as a spiritual being, that my journey was in a sense predestined. Before I
Okay.
was created, before I came into this body, there were certain things that I had to go through in this life. I had to be born to addicted parents. I had to be taken away from my parents. All these things were to empower me, not to diminish my life, but to enhance it.
That sounds like something I would say. We kind of live by the same code. No, kind of. We do live by the same code. And we understand in our pain and our trauma, whatever, whenever life looks like it's beating you up, there's really an opportunity to grow and to be more light and to love through it. And it's not always easy, it can be challenging. Now, one of the tools I was trying to get you to, one, you do your the goddess photography,
Mhm.
and the girls have a special name for these photographs. They're called,
Peace pictures.
and so what happens for them when you do these peace pictures?
Well, the most important thing in the peace pictures is to take them to a place where there's no fear and there's no worry, where there's only peace and love. And the way that I did that was through the imagination, as I asked them to imagine the most beautiful place that they can imagine in nature, and to go to that place, to see it, to close their eyes and see that place. And in that place, they can ask angels to come, and they can visualize themselves being surrounded by angels, and they can ask God to come, and they can ask Jesus to come. Whatever their spiritual orientation was, if they could have this space of divine peace and love, and to bathe in that place, to breathe in that place. And so through this process, they began to connect with that space of peace, because they were no longer thinking or worrying about anything. They were just in the presence of God, in the presence of peace and love. So my job was just to capture it when the light came through the strongest, when the energy came through the strongest in the photographs.
Okay, so you wrap them in cloth
Mm-hmm.
and you take them to this place and then you photograph what comes forth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you've shared some stories with me of different experiences that girls have had with their picture. One in particular was a young lady going to a hospital.
Oh wow, yeah. We had a 15-year-old whose peace picture I had taken, and these pictures are 11 by 17 on a mat board, so they're really like poster size pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And so the girls were hanging them on their walls, and whenever they would get upset, they would go and look at the picture. So the picture became a tool. It wasn't just a beautiful picture of me wrapped in white. It became a tool, and it became a way for them to really understand that no matter what they were going through in their life, that they had the power to connect with that place of peace within themselves. Through the breathing, through the visualization, they could remember how to get back to that place of peace.
Okay.
So the pictures became a tool, but I was really surprised when one young lady, she got really sick, and I was off work. And the next day when I got to work, they said that she was in the hospital and that she had pneumonia. And so she called me from the hospital and she said, guess what I'm doing? And I said, what? She said, I'm looking at my peace picture. And so when she said it, I was surprised, because I knew they had sent her in a cab to the hospital,
Mhm.
and that meant she had to carry this big, huge picture through emergency to
Wow.
the hospital, you know. And she said, I said, why did you do that? And she said, because I thought in some way that it would
Okay.
help me. Oh,
What did
I
I
wonder, is
do?
it still recording? It might have still been recording.
That's okay. They can edit it out.
Yeah.
So, and you thought in some way,
That it would help me to heal. That looking at her spiritual picture, she felt would help her to heal.
wow, did it?
I think so. I think so, yeah. If she said it helped her to heal, then it did.
There you
I
go.
really believe that, yes.
Tell us a little bit about the garments that you design. I happen to have the pleasure of having a Goddess original. I actually have more than one, and she is creating a whole wardrobe for me. She has select clients that she does that for. And I know how I feel when I put on a Goddess
Mm,
design. I feel like the highest and best and the most beautiful spiritual being that I can be.
wow,
Yeah.
wow.
So tell us a little bit about that and how did you get into creating these designs?
It's really interesting because these garments were inspired from a vision I had been having for years.
Hmm.
From the time I would say my earliest memory of a vision probably was about 4.
Okay.
And so, because I wasn't in school yet, I wasn't in kindergarten yet. So around 4, I remember, you know, from that time up until till probably in my 30s, I would have visions of women in these three-dimensional garments. So the visions were almost like it was like I was being transported to another dimension, and I would see these women walking toward me in the vision, and it was about 5 women, and they were walking as if they were floating, and they were wearing these hooded, three-dimensional garments, and their skin looked translucent, you know, like they weren't solid beings, you
Yeah.
know, and they just illuminated light.
Ethereal beings.
Yes. And they were walking, they were floating toward me. And when they would get close to me, they would just look at me. And it's like they were talking to me with their eyes. And I would just look in their eyes, and it's like they would shoot this heat through my body. And when the heat would go through my body, it just felt like an overwhelming feeling of love.
Wow.
It was just the most beautiful feeling. And I would close my eyes when this heat would go through my body. And when I opened my eyes, I would be back in the room. I would be back in my parents' living room. And so this was an experience that would happen over and over again. And I remember saying to God, you know, I want to go home. I want to go home where the women's eyes were filled with love. And so many years I longed to be with those women. I longed for that feeling because in the world that I lived in, I had 2 parents that were in deep pain and that were drug addicted and very temperamental, depressed and temperamental. And for me, being very empathic and being sensitive, living in a world where there's a lot of sadness, you know, was overwhelming, especially when I had something to compare it to, which
Right.
was the visions. So in my 20s, I decided, well, I can't go there, so maybe I can bring them here. Maybe those women in the vision are the true essence of who we are spiritually. And I began to believe that. I began to believe in my spirit that we are those women and that we forgot that we were women that illuminate light and that we were women that when we looked at people, that we can send with our eyes love.
You make me want to go out and love on somebody. I'm about to look at all of you all.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And that's, and you know what, and that's exactly what I hope to do. You know,
And you do that everywhere we go. She radiates light, she radiates love, and people gravitate towards her everywhere we go without fail.
well, and you know what, when you talk about raising the vibration,
Hmm.
you know, I really, really get this. You know, I really get this from working with the models and doing shows and things like that. That thought is energy. That thought is energy. And I think because I've reached a point in my life where I really don't have any judgments about people. You know, I really understand that people are doing the best they can based on who
Hmm.
they are emotionally, mentally, and spiritually.
Hmm.
And I really get it that Earth is a university where spirits come to grow and evolve through this human experience.
Right.
So everybody's not going to be on the same level. And so there are people that are lost in hate, lost in anger. But I know the truth of who we are because I know the truth of who I am. Because when I was in anger and I was in pain, deep inside of me was a very loving person that just wanted to be loved. Mm-hmm. But because of the things I went through, that's where I was at that time, spiritually. So I get that. So I understand that when I see that person that's angry, that's me, that's a reflection mm-hmm. of who I was. So in loving them, I'm actually loving me.
And you're raising the vibration
of that person.
Exactly. Thank you, Godis.
Yeah.
Godis is going to have, she actually is one of the hostess.
Yes.
Is it a hostess? Godis is a host of her own show on Spire Radio. Godis is the host of her own show on Spire Mini Radio. And I invite you to tune in and check her out so she can raise the vibe, help you raise the vibration.
Yes.
Thank you, Godis.
You're welcome. Thank you.